G'day chaps, it's I, Clumpeter139. Dispatch is what every Telltale game wished it was. From its hilarious comedic timing.
So, I'm no dispatch dude, but I don't know if sending him a level at a sub at Sunday school was the move.
Amazing voice cast.
My name's Beef and I'm naked.
Oh, no, I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
Never-ending list of incredible characters.
What's up, brother? My auntie named me Roy, but people call me Royd. Alright.
Crazy twists that keep you guessing.
Keep up.
Some of the best and most stressful resource management strategy gameplay I've ever seen.
Phenomenon is here to help.
I am here to help.
Stellar use of branching paths converging into one cohesive narrative, and literally everything else. This game is damn near perfect.
You did your best. I can't ask for anything else. Thank you.
Literally, aside from not having an infinite dispatch mode, $1 million DLC idea ad hoc, I'll wait for my royalties, I can't think of a single major flaw this game has. It is truly one of the best experiences I've had in recent memory, that I was immediately willing to go back and play through again to see how much of my choices in the first run impacted everything. Even the two Batman Telltale games weren't able to do that.
It was phenomenal.
I loved every minute of Dispatch, and I am so excited to talk about probably my favorite character in the game, and more importantly, the game's central message. What it really means to be a hero. This is your one and only spoiler warning, so if you haven't played Dispatch yet, I don't know what rock you've been living under. Get on it.
Well, sometimes it's more about the person than the powers. And good thing, because it's the only reason anyone gave your sorry ass a job.
Throughout Dispatch, you are doing your damnedest to get the bottom of the barrel, absolute worst heroes in the entire city up to the top marks. They're all former villains trying to turn their lives around, but most of them really suck at doing it. You're basically working with the Suicide Squad, minus the neck bombs. These guys will constantly go off on their own without being dispatched, directly disobey orders, sabotage each other so they aren't the bottom spot, clock out early and leave you short-handed, just flat out not clock in at all if they're mad at you, or even cause problems that you then need to send someone else out to solve. They suck.
You, every single one of you, are those flaming piles of burnt shit.
So, you gotta whip them into shape and make them worthy of being part of the Superhero Dispatch Network. Including one particularly abrasive gal that the internet has collectively decided to make their new obsession. I, and let's face it, everyone else who took Invisigal's path, were thinking the exact same thing every step of the way. I can fix her. And I mean, can you really blame us for thinking that way? Hot goth-adjacent woman, voiced by Laura Bailey, trying to become a hero but stuck with some of her villainous thoughts, who also very clearly has the hots for us? Yeah, of course we're gonna try to fix her. The only problem is that we can't.
Well, no one fucking asked you, old man.
Sure, if you play your cards right, you can work towards the redemption ending and even get a smooch for your troubles, but as is the case with the entirety of Project Phoenix, it's not really up to you. It's up to them. And nowhere is that better encapsulated than the final choice that determines the fate of your run. What I consider to be Dispatch's one amazing scene. Let's get to it. Before jumping all the way to Chapter 8, we need to build up and explain Invisigal's multiple scenes throughout the game. She's basically the secondary protagonist, whether or not you go down her route, so there's plenty to look at, despite being invisible. Invisigal makes her first appearance in Chapter 2, quickly becoming every straight man and lesbian's crush.
A washed-up dad bod superhero with no superpowers. Can't wait.
And if I had a nickel for every time a character with invisibility powers happened to be sitting somewhere that another character eventually threw an object causing them to be revealed, I'd have a stupidly high number of nickels. Seriously, is that the only way writers have to reveal invisible characters? Whatever. Point is, she's put straight into our crosshairs as soon as we get to SDN as a troublemaker within a group of nothing but troublemakers. She's the lowest ranked hero in the organization, and is clearly not putting in the hours to try and correct it. She's crass, irritating, quick to violence, and especially with her powers, is honestly just an HR nightmare. Not like HR actually exists at SDN, let's be honest. And for basically the entirety of the early game, she keeps it that way. She'll go on calls when asked, do the bare minimum, go back to HQ, and start the process over again. Robert sorta clings on to her as the game progresses, in some way growing closer to her with each chapter, regardless of whether or not you go down the romance route. Out of all the members of Z-Team, Invisigal is the one we're basically forced to like the most.
Look, I know I'm not supposed to play favorites here, but even if she was on the bottom, I'm not sure I'd have let you cut her.
There's a lot of semi-important scenes in between all this, but there's one very important piece of context that we need to look at all the way in Chapter 7 before we go through them. I know this video is going to be jumping around a lot, so please just bear with me. It gets to an important point, I promise. In the locker room, Invisigal opens up to Robert about the truth as to why she's here at SDN to begin with. Turns out, she's the reason Robert can no longer be Mecha Man. She worked for Shroud and planted the explosive that completely destroyed the suit beyond repair, leaving Robert in a coma for months. The very next day, she left the crew and joined the Phoenix program as a way to make amends. And this scene right here really shows us who Vizzy was when we first met her. She wanted to feel good about herself without actually doing anything to make herself better. She says she joined Team Z the day after screwing up Robert's life because she wanted to make amends for working for the bad guy. And yet, every time that we see her in Chapter 2 and 3, she's just slacking off, fighting with her team, objectively making things worse for herself. It's a complete contradiction of what she says she wants to do. When I first saw this aspect of her character, I couldn't help but compare it to one of my favorite scenes from one of my favorite shows, BoJack Horseman. Spoilers for Season 1, if you haven't seen it, skip ahead if you like. The scene being the one where BoJack apologizes to Herb. BoJack has spent the last 20 years ghosting Herb, and finally, after all that time, makes contact, catches up, and appears to have a good time with his lost friend. Before leaving, though, he decides to have a one-on-one and apologize for being so neglectful all this time. It looks like it's about to be a touching moment, where it seems like BoJack is starting to turn over a new leaf. But you know what Herb says?
Okay, I don't forgive you.
I don't forgive you. It's such a jarring 180, followed by this long speech about how, if BoJack was really sorry, he would have been a friend to Herb even through all the troubles. He's not gonna forgive BoJack just because he's now feeling sorry, because he needs to feel better about being such a terrible friend for 20 years. He doesn't deserve it. He didn't put in the work that friends do for each other. He abandoned his best friend. BoJack wasn't doing this for Herb, he was doing it for himself. So he'll never be forgiven for that.
Now get the fuck out of my house.
That scene perfectly mirrors Invisigal's arc throughout the early chapters of Dispatch, especially with the context of what she did in Chapter 7. She said she joined the Phoenix program to turn her life around and start again. Yet when she's actually in the program, what does she do? Disobey orders, pick fights with superiors, cut herself off from the team to be depressed in a park.
No, you're quitting. You're not making it easy for me. You're making it easy for you.
All culminating in her being the lowest ranked super in the entirety of Los Angeles. And not even by a small margin either. The next rank up is nearly double her score. She doesn't actually want to turn her life around. She just wants to do the right thing so she'll feel better about herself and think she's a good person. If she cared about making amends, she'd be putting in the work with her team, building herself up on the board to be one of the best goddamn heroes in the city. But she doesn't do that because in the beginning, she doesn't care. And in retrospect, this really brings light to why Chase despised her so much in particular among a group of nothing but former villains. He was there from when she first joined the program, saw how little effort she was putting in, and put together that she didn't actually want to change. She just wanted to feel better about herself. Funnily enough, to quote another Aaron Paul character, "You can't keep doing shitty things and feel bad about yourself like that makes it okay. You need to be better. You don't just get to decide that you've become a better person because you did one good thing. You need to constantly be better, every day. It's a commitment, but one that those who actually want this have no problem committing to."
People are who they choose to be. If Invisigal wants this, she has to commit. It's too easy to quit when you're not good at something.
So after her little pity party in the park, say that 5 times fast, Robert sees a chance for her to actually start being better. And upon helping her thwart the jewel store robbery, she sees what life could actually be like. Actual appreciation for doing good work from her superiors and her comrades, as well as just the good feeling you get when you do something good. Vizzy is starting to see a reality where this could actually work. Maybe her powers can actually be used to help people, good people who actually need it, and not crazed lunatics like Shroud. Maybe somewhere under all that transparent skin is the heart of a hero. And maybe the guy she just happened to screw over to get here is just the guy to help her.
Thanks.
From this point forward, she does better every single day. She listens to orders, succeeds on missions, assuming you aren't playing the idiot route, warms up to Robert a lot, even goes on a date and opens up about herself to him. Probably best of all though, during Chapter 6, she and the rest of Z-Team put their heads together using the skills they developed as villains to help Robert track down the Astral Pulse so he can become Mecha Man again. In other words, taking the bad that they've done and using it for a good cause. And it really feels like during this party, the entire team is finally that. A team. Sure, they had the brawl bar together, but that was more so a case of getting everyone out alive rather than working together to take on a common threat. I mean, Punch Up even got some friendly fire in there. They're not really going for teamwork here. But during the party, everyone's together, having a good time, and actually working towards a noble cause. Not because they have to as part of their job, but just because they want to. And even accepting multiple people who were against them in their previous lives into their circle, further leaving those bad times behind and looking ahead to a brighter future of heroism. This is probably the closest we get, aside from the full-blown good ending, to seeing the Z-Team really embodying the name Project Phoenix. They've truly left all the bad blood out the door, burned away all their negative attributes, and started to light up again as real friggin' heroes. At least, until Chase decides to start running his mouth.
Bunch of drunk-ass Z-Teamers, please. Y'all wouldn't make it past the front door.
Pun very much intended.
You understand that word, or has it got too many fucking syllables for you?
It's weird to say that one side in a disagreement is both right and taking it too far. But that's exactly what's going on with Chase during this party. In his own way, he was right about Vizzy. She joined the project to make herself feel better, not make amends for her crimes. If this was Chapter 2, just after the Granny's Donuts incident, I'd be on his side 100%. If Vizzy didn't follow through with the jewel store job and just stayed sulking on that swing set, I absolutely would have cut her from the team. Taking the obvious tomboy supremacy out of the equation, she's nothing but a fuck-up, and has yet to actually prove herself as valuable to the team. Her power during dispatches is literally going solo, meaning it is objectively worse to send her out on missions with other heroes who probably need her skills to succeed. Until she goes through training with Blazer, she objectively does not contribute to the team any more than the rest of the members. But this is Chapter 6, Invisigal, one that has very clearly started to actually care. Hell, she's the one who set up this heist planning party literally just to help Robert, not out of any nefarious plans, at least as far as anyone here knows. And yet Chase automatically assumes the worst and believes there has to be a catch to all of this. He calls her out in the middle of the party when things were admittedly getting a little heated, but completely skips the context of the conversation and jumps right to shitting on Vizzy just because he can.
You are no fucking hero.
This attack genuinely comes out of nowhere, but is clearly not just a crash out that he didn't mean. He's drunk, and people become their true selves when they've had too much to drink. All of this is coming straight from Chase's heart. He means every single word of it.
I know you're a liar, criminal, I know you're fucking dangerous, what else do I need to know?
Which makes all of them sting so much more.
There. Now I know you're a coward.
This negative pushback that she's constantly getting keeps Invisigal from becoming better. She's been putting in the work and started acting like a real goddamn hero these last 2 chapters. And despite that, Chase can still only see that negative side of her. It just goes to show that despite starting to turn your life around and making a change, some people will still only see you for that one mistake. In that regard, I can compare it to another of my favorite scenes from a show that I love, Better Call Saul. Again, spoilers for season 4, skip ahead if you'd like. But in this episode, Jimmy is brought onto a scholarship committee to decide which promising student will get some of that sweet, sweet free college money. He notes a particular student that did just as well as all the others, if not even better in certain categories. But the rest of the committee completely ignored her because of a single blemish on her record. Shoplifting, 2 years ago. One of the members, when he brings the student up, even refers to her as simply the shoplifter, not even bothering to refer to her by name or any of her other accomplishments, as though that's all she is and will ever be to this group. So Jimmy sees the truth for what it is. She doesn't have a chance at this scholarship. She never had a chance, because before she even walked in through that door, the committee had made up their mind about her.
That's the shoplifter.
That's right.
She became this one thing and wasn't allowed to change, all because of one mistake. One mistake that not only got her to turn her life around and pursue this new life goal, but would also give her insight as to how someone on the other side of this line of work would be feeling, and thus would have better knowledge than most of the other candidates. But that mistake is all she'll ever be. Nothing that came out of it, nothing that was done in spite of it, nothing else matters, except that one blemish.
You made a mistake, and they are never forgetting it. As far as they're concerned, your mistake is just, it's who you are, and it's all you are.
And that same thing is applied to Invisigal by Chase. He only sees her for the former criminal slacker that she was when she signed up for the program. He doesn't acknowledge the progress that she's made in the other direction. All the calls she's gone on to take down criminals and get people out safely. All the bonds she's built up with the rest of Z-Team, becoming a real squad of heroes. All the hard work she's put in being a real goddamn hero. None of it matters to Chase, because she'll only ever be that lazy Invisib bitch who crawled into SDN and asked for a job that she didn't follow through on. That one mistake is all that Chase is able to see, so it's all he's ever going to treat her as.
And the higher you rise, the more they're gonna hate you. Good. good. You rub their noses in it. You make them suffer.
And this constant negativity always being pushed in her face by one of her supervisors is a one-way ticket to creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you never give someone a chance to change, they never will change. If you keep punching down at someone who's already at their lowest and then criticizing them for never standing up and defending themselves, you're part of the problem. It's like Chase is mad at Vizzy for even trying in the first place, which is a really ass-backwards way of looking at a project meant to help people change.
Now, if I'm being honest, I thought and still think we should have canned these tunas months ago.
Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we should have given more of a shot.
Nah, they're all soft. That's why I would have cut them all.
Can't believe you actually hung out with these fuckers.
You jealous, old man?
Of what? Let me guess. You get into a bar fight? I'm right. That's what criminals do at bars. They ruin everybody's fun.
Bunch of drunk-ass Z-teamers, please. Y'all wouldn't make it past the front door.
It's just the right thing to do.
Sure. And you think the Z-team will be able to tell the difference?
And I know it sounds like I'm really bagging on Chase here, and to an extent I am, but it's all just to praise the writing of this game. Despite being a group of, frankly, really weird superpowered individuals, Dispatch has some of the most realistic and human characters I've ever seen. People hold grudges when you fire their friend. Depression isn't something you just get over in a matter of days. Sometimes after a bit of reflection and anger redistribution, even the most abrasive can find forgiveness. Anxiety doesn't just go away after one good pep talk. It takes time. One date isn't a one-way ticket to getting into someone's pants, despite how flirty they might be on the outside. Some people will only see black and white, rather than the very distinct shades of gray that all human beings are. People don't just change overnight. It's a constant process that they need help to achieve every single day. That's what makes all of these characters so interesting. They don't just immediately overcome their current character flaw because we chose the right dialogue option. They're aspects of people that need to be worked on over time and might eventually get better with lots of work. And they take more than just one talk to get right.
We all pay for who we used to be. Sooner you get it over with, sooner we get a fresh start.
I know I named this video about how you can't fix Invisigal, how you aren't responsible for her actions, whatever. But that's kind of a lie. As the game itself tells us, depending on the ending that you get, you either support or neglect Invisigal to determine her path going forward. Because the truth is that you aren't fixing anyone on Z-Team. You're helping them. One of the big lessons that this game really pushes is to just ask for help.
I met a nice lady. She wants to help us out.
Whether they want to admit it or not, some people just need help. And more often than not, people are just too prideful to ask for it. Especially when those people are superpowered individuals who go out and take orders every day from a normie. They already took a big leap, moving away from their life of crime and choosing to better themselves. Accepting defeat and turning down a different path is a big commitment, and to some extent would be humiliating. So asking for help on top of that would just make them seem even weaker than they already thought themselves to be. And nobody wants to be perceived as weak. This is the case for all the heroes in the Phoenix program, but is especially amplified with Invisigal. Vizzy spends the entire game feeling worthless. Her powers are only useful for bad guys. In comparison to the rest of her team, she's severely underpowered. Everyone is constantly dogpiling her to bring her down, even after she did something great. No matter how much time you spend building her up, something is gonna rear its ugly head around the corner and knock her back down. And sometimes that's just how life is. You can do everything right, follow the guidebook of success perfectly, play a beautiful game, but sometimes you still lose. When that happens, you rightfully want to give up. Go back to Easy Street, forget all the progress you might have made, and pretend it never happened. It's much easier than starting the whole fight over only to probably lose right at the finish line again, right?
You don't get it. Some people are born to be heroes. I'm not one of them. I tried, just wasn't meant to be.
As yet another outside connection, we can compare it to Arkham Origins. I don't really need to say spoilers considering the channel I'm on, do I? Either way, here's your warning. The end of the game shows Batman flat out giving up because he failed. He thought he was doing everything right in his crime-fighting pursuits. Going out every night, stopping the lowest criminal scum, making them always think twice before pulling that trigger. But tonight, it all caught up with him. The one person he cared about, the only connection he's had for his entire life, was put in danger by his actions, and would have died if he wasn't there and thinking quick enough to resuscitate him. And if he can't defend one person, the one thing that actually matters to him, the one thing that he is obligated to protect, how could he defend an entire city? He gives up. He doesn't have what it takes to stop crazed lunatics like Bane and the Joker if he can't even defend his own home. So why even bother trying? And why should Invisigal keep trying if people are just gonna keep knocking her down even when she finally does good? Because real heroes keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, how much life wants you to give up and just stay down. You say no and push back. Batman gets back into the fight, knowing that it may happen again, and it's just a reality that he'll have to live with if he truly wants to help others. And both sides of that coin are perfectly shown off by Invisigal's story throughout Dispatch.
I get it, okay, Jesus.
Most runs, she's going to be that quitter who takes the easy way out when things start to go wrong. She sulks in a park after sabotaging her friends, thinking she's gonna get cut from the team, and does nothing about it. She gets ready to return to Shroud after Chase goes into a coma, thinking he was ultimately right about her. She's ready to leave the team, regardless of your choice to cut her. And if Robert wasn't there to help her, she probably would have done all of those things. Robert, or in other words, you, are the final forceful push that she needs to not take the easy way out. But it's not as simple as just saying, you'll be there, saying you'll help, choosing the correct dialogue options. You have to stick with her and prove that you actually care. That's not to say you have to completely derail your route if you want to help her. Not at all, in fact. Contrary to popular belief, you don't need to romance Invisigal to get her redemption. You don't even need to keep her on the team in the end. You just need to support her, no matter how low she goes. That's how Vizzy knows Robert actually cares. Getting her redemption ending is only possible if you stick with her through thick and thin. And on top of that, send her out for dispatch missions that she can do successfully. The game keeps track of how often Vizzy succeeds on her missions, and how often you send her out. If you aren't choosing her enough, or she ends up failing a lot of missions, even if you did everything else on her path right, she won't be redeemed. You can't just follow a bunch of scripted events to the finish line and celebrate the good ending without actually trying. You need to put in the work to make sure she's putting in the work to better herself. In other words, getting the bad ending is genuinely just a skill issue. I had to go out of my way to get footage of the bad ending, because even when it felt like I was going against her and about to lose, I still kept getting the redemption ending. It's that easy to get. And all at the same time, you don't need to make sacrifices yourself. Robert can still live his own life, away from Invisigal, and still help her. You don't need to sacrifice your romance with Blonde Blazer, or potentially ruin your brotherly bond with Chase, or end up being hated by the Z team for making the wrong call because you're trying to get this girl her redemption. You can ignore the movie date and still get the good ending. You can keep your identity secret from the rest of Z team against Vizzy's judgment and she won't hate you for it. You can cut her from the team in Chapter 7 and she'll still come around and take that bullet for you.
I guess your girlfriend's alright.
She's not my girlfriend.
Then you're an idiot.
Again, applicable to real life. You don't need to put yourself in jeopardy for the sake of others. Always put your own well-being first. You can still help people without compromising yourself. You can help Invisigal by simply being a good friend. Sometimes that's all people really need. Just a good, reliable friend because they've gone their entire lives surrounded by people who claim to be their friends, but just flat out aren't. Vizzy clearly has, being a part of Shroud's crew. She has her own perception of what friends are, so is probably expecting everyone she meets at STN to be the same. But then along comes Robert, showing what real friends could be, what life could be like opening up to others, being a genuine help, and it turns her whole life around. And he can do it while still being himself, making his own choices and living his own life. All he has to do is give her a chance.
I was trying to protect you.
The only truly difficult decision that you need to make involving Invisigal that genuinely determines whether or not you will get the good ending is deciding to untie her. This is the final moment that determines if she'll be redeemed, because it's the culmination of her entire arc throughout the story. Are you willing to put aside your biases, your preconceived notions about everything she's done, about everything she's been throughout the whole story, and believe that she has changed? Is she truly a different person than the peeping Tom you met in your first hour at SDN? Would she still sulk in a park after one day of failed missions? Was her working for Shroud truly a one-time, honest mistake? Did she lead the bad guys here, or will she stand up and fight them? Depending on how much you supported her throughout the main story, you'll already know the answer.
All I wanted from this was for people to look at me the same way that you look at Blazer. Even if it was just once, you know? Instead, they've always seen me how you see me right now.
And what was that?
Like I'm incapable of good.
I struggled with this decision the first time. I had my trust betrayed, even after being nothing but supportive the whole way through. It was genuinely the hardest choice I had to make in a game all about hard choices. But after everything we went through together, every roadblock put in her path that she actually decided to overcome rather than turning around and running the other way, I believed her. I gave her one last chance that a lot of others probably wouldn't have. And that final chance was all that Courtney needed to know that this is the life she wants to live now. She's done running, done hiding, done working for the bad guys. She's finally truly ready to be a hero. All because just one guy believed in her. I think what really told me it was the right choice was Vizzy's lines asking to be released. Her final line before you make your decision.
You need my help, just let me help, please.
This scene in tandem with this line is a perfect reversal of the park scene. We spend the entire park scene trying to convince Invisigal to not give up, to go take on one last call so that she's not at the bottom of the rankings. Robert is trying to convince her to let him help. He wants nothing more than to see his team succeed, and even if a member is gonna get cut, at least she'll get cut with her head held high, going out like a hero. And now Vizzy is trying to convince Robert to let her help. She cares about the people here and wants to finally make up for all the shitty things she's done, and she means it this time. She knows what the crew is capable of and can't let these friends go in alone. It's all come full circle. First, the hero helped the villain. Now the reformed villain is helping the hero. It's really telling that this final scene is the one that really makes the difference. Because it's your final call to action to see if you've fallen into the same trap as Chase. Do you think even the worst person can change? That everyone can be a good person if they just tried? Dispatch is a story all about redemption, whether or not you deserve it, and whether or not you can actually earn it. Invisigal starts the game, frankly, not deserving it. Sure, she claims she wants to be better, wants to be good, wants to be loved and appreciated like great heroes like Blazer, but she doesn't really care. She wants to be a hero, not do hero work. And we can bring in one final outside reference to really hammer this home. One of the greatest animated movies of all time, The Incredibles. Honestly, if you haven't seen this movie by now, I'm just sorry for your childhood. The film's villain, Syndrome, claims that he wants to be a hero, and yet to do it, he unleashes a destructive, homicidal robot on a populated city so that he can destroy it in a staged fight, winning the adoration of the populace. He wants nothing more than the praise he never got as a kid from his childhood hero. He doesn't actually care about helping people or doing good. He killed nearly every single super in the world so that he could stage a fight that only he could win. There was never any inkling of good in his plan, as compared to the actual heroes in the movie, who all choose to use their powers to do good each and every day. Mr. Incredible comes out of hiding as often as he can to use his powers to help people where nobody else would be able to. He jumps into burning buildings to save civilians, is ready to jump out a window to stop a mugging, works his way through every loophole in his company's contracts to help otherwise helpless clients. He is doing actual hero work. And at first, Invisigal is almost exactly like Syndrome. She wants the recognition from signing up for the Turn Your Life Around program without actually turning her life around. She wants to be treated like a hero without actually doing real hero work. Until Robert comes in, shows her what real hero work is like, and gives her the chance to actually turn around and be like Mr. Friggin' Incredible.
I hope the fact that I've always rooted for you makes up for ever doubting you.
It does.
I have a feeling I'm probably talking in circles at this point, like every other video, but dude, I just love this game so much, I could keep gushing all day if I had the chance. But seeing as I've got 3 whole more videos to make, I am already at page 10 on this script, I guess it's as good a time as any to bring this one to an end. I think I've made my point pretty clear. Dispatch is awesome, Invisigal is a great character, tomboy supremacy, and anyone who disagrees is wrong.
You did a great job. With them, with Invisigal.
So, with all that being said, do all of the YouTube stuff, because we are just getting started with Superhero Month, baby! 3 weeks to go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, chaps.
I guess I can still be surprised.